Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. John Harcar here, your host. I'm here today with Jeremy Beland, and what we're going to do is talk about securing profitable real estate deals and maximizing your ROI in your real estate business. Hey guys, remember at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and really all real estate professionals 2 to 5x their business. And it's by providing resources and tools that can help you build the business you want to build and live the life you dreamed of. So, Jeremy, welcome to our show, man.
Hey, John, thanks for having me today. It's an honor to be on this podcast, so I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And that we talked before, we go way back. I'm super excited to catch up. I'm super excited to talk about, how we can really maximize that return, because that's huge in everybody's business. But before we do that, let our audience who doesn't know you kind of know a little bit about you. Where you from, how you got started, your family, etc.
Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and I'll try to summarize this up as quickly as possible. It's gonna take me a few minutes here. I'm caffeined up, so I'm gonna power through. I'll take a few breaths between sentences and just run on. But my name's Jeremy Beland. I live up in New Hampshire. As I'm recording this, I am 48 years old. I actually started my real estate journey at 40. Before starting my real estate journey, I came into this world basically homeless. My mom was a young mom, had me out of wedlock, and that didn't go so well with her family. So as a young mom with a young child, she was kind of bouncing around from place to place and really had a tough go of it at a young age. And, I feel for her. And, we were on welfare and just grew up very poor the early part of my life. And then she was able to find somebody and she got married and we started to have a growing family. And then we basically, up in New Hampshire, found ourselves to have lower middle class success. We had a nice small house and some cars, and life was good. I had a bike, right? Things were great. We had cable TV, right? We had food, so those things were great. And then, as I was getting ready to head into high school, right around 1990, yes, I'm that old, people. Again, I said I was 48, right? So,
same age.
My stepfather at the time wanted to take a stab at entrepreneurship and decided to leave a really good tech job to do it. Shortly thereafter, unfortunately, he ended up losing everything. We lost everything. We ended up losing our house to foreclosure. They went through bankruptcy. We had our cars repossessed in the middle of the night kind of deal. And, and when you're in that position with 3 kids, man, it's really tough. And, by the time I was in my second year of high school, and this happened right before I went into high school, I was already in 3 different high schools because we just were bouncing around from one crappy rental to one crappy rental. And it was a dark time in our lives, right? They were depressed and they were dealing with their own stuff, trying to navigate all that as young parents with young kids. Looking back as an adult now, I realize how challenging that must have been. But anyway, I kind of went into, your typical teenage punk era, and they didn't have really good guidance, and I dropped out of high school and never went to college. And then I found myself in my early 20s. I was actually a window cleaner hanging off skyscrapers in Boston as a high-rise window cleaner, making a whopping $24,000 a year. 20 stories up, covered in pigeon poop and smog and cold, and driving an hour and a half to 2 hours into Boston from New Hampshire every day. But I didn't know what to do because I had no money, had no credit. I didn't really know. I just thought, Jesus, this is going to be my life. And then a good friend of mine.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And that I was playing semi-pro tackle football with said, "Hey, dude, why don't you come work with me at this company?" And was selling fax machines and printers and copiers and things like that. And they were going to offer me a job making basically $24,000 a year, working in an office, not hanging off a skyscraper.
Not hanging from a skyscraper.
And I have no idea why they brought me. I mean, I had no sales experience, no education. Literally had to buy my first tie that I ever had in my life to get to this, job interview. But I think they were like, "Oh, you breathe, you're hired." So they took me.
Yeah.
I came in, and then I started to really just learn how to do business to business, cold outreach, right? Door knocking, cold calling. This was my first adult experience of what it takes to be successful in sales, and that's a lot of no's before you get a yes. And then I had some success with it, believe it or not. And, I found myself into another sales job and I was making really good money, found myself in my early 30s and I was making six figures. And at this point I got married, had 2 little kids, and I had my own house in New Hampshire. We had a pool, we had new cars. And for somebody who grew up very, very poor, I mean, a lot of times, like, we didn't have the basic necessities to survive.
Right.
I was like the sitcoms we used to all watch TV in the 80s and 90s. I hit the epitome of the white picket fence dream, right? I achieved everything I wanted to. And it was like pinch me lifestyle. I couldn't believe that I achieved all that. Then the Great Recession happened. And if your listeners know, in 2008, 2009, man, a lot of people got rocked in this world. And I was one of them. A year before the recession, we put an addition on our house. We had about $80,000 in equity. 2 years later, our house was upside down $150,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, I lost my job and I couldn't find a job anywhere because it wasn't just a housing crisis back then. It was an employment crisis. And because I had no education, people who are more educated, more successful than me were taking lesser paying jobs because they were in the same situations. And it just pushed me down this totem pole. And now I found myself at 33 years old on the brink of foreclosure and bankruptcy. I said, "Oh my God, history repeats itself. I'm going to be a failure." I spiraled into depression because I couldn't provide for my family. It was a rock bottom time in my life. And I didn't know what to do. I couldn't, there was no way to get out of my situation. I was losing everything. There was no loan modifications, no refinances. There was no help at all then. The only people being helped were the big banks, right? So, I had an option to go into the Air Force. That was the only thing I could think of. If I went into the Air Force, I could go away for 6 months to make $30,000 a year. Far cry from the 120 I was making 2 years earlier.
Right.
But I would have to leave my family for 6 months, but they would provide me an education, and because I couldn't afford to go back to college. So I said, well, if I can go to the military and learn this education, maybe I could come back out and have like a recession-proof job, right? But the problem was I needed a top secret clearance for this opportunity in the Air Force, and they weren't going to allow me to do that if I had foreclosure or bankruptcy on my record, because the government feels like you will sell government secrets if you're, in foreclosure or bankruptcy. But they would allow a short sale. So at this time, before all this was happening, I was starting to learn about real estate investing. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant. I was actually starting to learn from people like Peter Conti, which is an old guru back in the day. And actually even started doing some stuff where we were posting ads on local newspapers, and things were different then. This is before the social media era.
Right.
So I started to dabble it, but I just couldn't really get going because my world was collapsing around me. But I knew enough to reach out to a real estate investor. And a real estate investor came out and prevented me from foreclosure and bankruptcy and short saled my house. And he said to me, "Jeremy, your mortgage company is terrible. They suck, but I've had a lot of success working with them, doing other short sales for other people. I felt very confident that I can get a short sale done for you. And then we can get you out of this situation. Your credit won't be great for 3 years, but you'll survive it. And then you can go into the Air Force and start rebuilding your life, right? So my first off-market deal ever, I was a motivated seller, not the buyer.
You were.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Motivated seller.
I was a motivated seller.
Yeah.
And, you know, that guy gave me a reset button in life, right? And if it wasn't for him at that point, I wouldn't be here today talking to you, John, as the God honest truth. That guy, you know, saved my life, right?
Sounds like it.
We're all one or two life decisions or life events from hitting rock bottom, right? It happens to a lot of us. Good people fall in hard times. Sometimes we need help. A real estate agent couldn't help me back then. They just couldn't. But a real estate investor could. So I went into the military, came out of the military, got divorced. Now I found myself as a single divorced dad with two kids, and I was approaching 40 years old, and this is where I started to feel vulnerable again. I'm like, all right, I'm making six figures again, but I'm still living month to month. You know, I'm having some success, but what if the owner of my company sells? What if the economy does this? What if this and this and this happens? I was starting to feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't want to be in that situation for like the fourth time in my life. And then I started listening to some podcasts, and then I started to hear ding, 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 bam. And if you guys don't know who that is Tom Kroll.
Mr. Tom Kroll.
Yes. And I heard his podcast, and man, his charismatic personality just hooked me in like so many others. And he was great. And, you know, my thought process at that time, John, was like, hey, listen, I don't have money to buy rentals. I don't have money to flip houses. I do want to do those things, but I didn't know you could use other people's money at that time. I just knew I didn't have any.
Sure.
So, you know, as I was listening to him traveling around the country as a salesperson for a year with analysis paralysis, I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm turning 40 years old for my 40th birthday. I'm going to join his coaching program. I didn't have any money to join his coaching program. That was the only problem. But I did have a townhouse that I bought 2 years earlier. So I freaking sold my townhouse. I made $17,000 in equity. I moved me and my two kids into this crappy little apartment, and I was all in. This is all the money I had. It either worked or it didn't. And I took $11,000 and I took $5,000 to join the wholesaling program, and $6,000 with my initial marketing spend, right? We were doing direct mail to absentee owners with a handwritten white postcard and stuff like that. And, you know, went on to do my first deal in 90 days, started January 2017, did 10 deals that first year of $73,000. But as I stand here today, John, we've done over 450 off-market transactions, and we've done over $10 million in gross assignments and gross profits since then.
Let's go.
And it all started with taking that leap of faith, and that's where I stand today.
Let's go, man. That's such a great story. I mean, you talk about the rags to riches, to rags to back to riches. I mean, the perseverance. Yeah. I mean, and that's what we've all had, right? But the perseverance, right, I think is my biggest takeaway from that, is that you had a plan, you had a goal, and you no matter what. I mean, we heard back in the day a lot of folks would max out every credit card to get into a training or something. You sold a townhouse to get into one. So that's awesome. I mean, that's a great story. So what does your business look like now, right? It's been, what, 8 years, right? Since that? What does it look like now? What does your team look like?
Yeah, so, you know, we've had a lot of different identities over the years. You know, at first it was just me, and then it was me and Shelly for a long time. And then we hired an acquisition guy, and we built our New Hampshire market. That's where I'm from, is New Hampshire, so New Hampshire home buyers. And then we had an opportunity to go to Western New York, and we built out a really good business out in Buffalo and Rochester for a while. And we did 150 wholesale deals out there in 2.5 years. Went into Wichita, Kansas. I had a guy there. We had some good success for a short amount of time. Went to Las Vegas, did one deal, epic failure. And then we even worked with Dan Toback, who's actually a coach in our coaching program as well, in Florida. And, you know, we've done a lot of deals with Florida down with him. So, you know, as it stands today, we still do a little bit of work in coastal Florida out of the East Coast. So we have coastal Florida home buyers, but our primary market is New Hampshire and Massachusetts. And, obviously we have the coaching program. So, I have one sales guy, Eddie. He's been with us for 6 years. He's a rock star. We have some VAs, and, we've downsized a lot over the years. What I've realized over time is scaling is great, but it's not very profitable.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
It's great for the ego. It's not great for the wallet. A lot of scaling is keeping up with the Joneses. And I didn't really want to have a big business. At one point, I thought I did, and then the realities of it hit, and I found over time less is more. So now, as I stand today, I'm a lifestyle investor, right? So I work with a smaller team. We focus on acquiring off-market properties. We maximize revenue on the disposition side. I try to buy and hold as many properties as I can. And now I'm just trying to teach as many people as I can all the things that I know that I did right and all the things that I did wrong, and share that with others to hopefully build them a life of freedom through real estate investing like I have.
Love it. Do you operate mostly virtual model? I mean, probably in your own. So you do in every market. You got someone that's going in there and seeing all the houses and doing.
We had boots on the ground in all those markets. We hired our own acquisition people. We trained them all in house. The virtual model's great. Some people have success with it. I'm not a big fan of it myself personally. The last thing I want to do is be stuck at a phone making phone calls 8 hours a day. That just sounds like a cold calling cubicle desk job for me. And I find that if you can become better in your own market doing less deals, right? So if you're virtual, you have to do a lot of volume. The spreads per deal aren't great. You become a motivated seller a lot of times because you don't have a lot of buyers and you're scrambling to find a buyer. So you're selling your deals at a discount. And then getting them all to closing is just a nightmare, right? So, we easily do 7 figures a year here in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, basically off of 3 deals a month on average, right? And it doesn't take a lot of work to do 3 deals. Whereas if you're virtual doing $1 million a year, you're probably talking about 10 deals a month. And, and it's a lot of work per deal. That doesn't change. So I'd rather do less is more.
Well, and I also think too, and I'm under the the thought of being in person, being that chest to chest, like you said, you're going to get better deals. You're going to be able to build better rapport. You're going to be able to get a better value or give a better value to your seller versus on the phone, and that's just so impersonal. And that'll kind of take us to the next topic I want to talk about that we chatted before about kind of the acquisition stuff, right? We grew up and we came up in the business in the TTP area type, TTP type of time, like really started focusing on more talking to people, right? And looking at that. So you mentioned being good at conversations, having that skill set. Tell me how important that is.
I think it's the key to all my success, really. I honestly think it's that important, right? So Wholesaling Inc. was great. We initially started. It taught us how to do our first wholesale deal. Where it failed, it really didn't tell us how to get better at it. And it didn't really tell us how to get better at marketing, run the business, or talking to people. And it wasn't until I came across Todd Toback, which is that Inner Circle, who he really specialized on teaching people how to talk to sellers, overcoming objections, coming from a place of empathy, providing value. And like you, I believe in belly to belly. I think that's the way to go. You're able to get better deals. You have a lot less cancellations this way. And you could provide just better value to people in general. And I was one of those motivated sellers back in the day. That guy helped me, right? I don't know if I would have done a deal over somebody over the phone, right? So, so it's been critical. So once we started to learn about how to get better at talking to sellers, and because you're good at talking to people or good at sales, doesn't mean you're necessarily good at talking to distressed sellers who are emotional, irrational, habitual procrastinators. They kick the can down the road as far as they can. they're they're like an ostrich with their head in the sand saying, la, 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 there's no problems around me. I'm not, it's a challenge. And Todd Toback was great. And we went from 10 deals our first year to 24 our second, 36 the year after. And then we've been 7 figures ever since. And not only did I spend a lot of time and effort learning from him, I spent a lot of time and money on my acquisition guys, training them from Todd Toback. Then eventually Cody Hoffine had some training that he talked about, sales training, before he opened up his Joe Home Buyer franchise. And then we brought Dan Toback in. And before we started doing business with Dan Toback in coastal Florida, or him as a coach in our coaching program, I was paying him $3,000 a month to coach my guys because they did 100 deals each, but I wanted them to get better. Dan had 600 deals to his belt, and he was just a master acquisition specialist, and he's a great coach. And that's how we built REI Freedom. We just realized there is more of a need to train people how to get better talking to people, because we all know how to pull lists. We all know how to generate leads, but you're spending all this time, money, and energy creating leads. You really need to be converting those not only to contracts, but contracts that close, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people don't even know what the conversion percentage is. Like, how many leads does it take for you to close a deal per marketing channel? A lot of people are like, I don't know. Well, what's your ROI on these marketing channels? I don't know. Well, I mean, then you're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks, right? If you want to make money, you have to treat it like a professional business, and honing in your acquisition skills is a critical part of that success.
Do you think that is the most important thing that people that are getting in the business need to really work on first, as opposed to all the other little things like lead gen, like that? I mean, do you really think it's about developing that skill?
Yeah, in this day and age where it is more competitive and more popular than ever, right? So back in the day, we had local wholesalers. Now we have local and virtual wholesalers. Everybody's pulling the same prop stream leads and calling everybody the same thing. So what's going to set you apart? You're just going to spend more than everybody else? That doesn't really create a great opportunity business model for success. The way to really separate yourself from the competition is how much better can you be at locking up deals at a great value and providing value to the sellers and having a better conversion and less cancellations. And I feel like you're honing those skills. And it takes a lot of repetition. It takes years to master. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't care how good you are. It takes years to master. And that's where all the money's made, right? The reason why we're able to do, 3 to 4 deals a month and have big spreads. Well, the exit strategy, which we'll talk about shortly, is a big part of it. But, none of that happens until we master the art of acquisitions. You could generate leads, but you need to make sure that you have consistent deals coming into your business each and every month. And the only way to do that is be really good talking to people.
Yeah. And I think too, that a lot of times when you develop that skill of talking to people, it eliminates a lot of the price factor in some of the homeowners that you're working with, because they're more apt sometimes to take your less offer because they have that rapport and trust with you. That's a big thing. I couldn't agree
with you more, John. We've done so many deals over the years where we've gotten it for less money than our competitors because they felt more certain that we'd be able to provide the value and follow through on what we promised.
Yeah. And I think the brand, your branding helps a lot about that too, for your credibility and going into people as well.
And I couldn't agree with you anymore, man. You can tell your stuff, John. I love this. I do a lot of speaking engagements at a lot of REIAs and meetups around the country, and I was at one last night. And one of our top 5 sales techniques in our business is providing certainty, right? So the reason why that investor back in 2009 was able to resonate with me, because he was able to provide certainty. Jeremy, this mortgage company sucks to work with, but I have had success getting other short sales done. I feel very confident we can get this done for you, right? That is providing certainty. So, we're all about providing certainty from our experience. But one of the things that we really strive to do is build a really good testimonial and review, presence, right? So if you go to the New Hampshire home buyers, we have over 100 5-star Google reviews. Our nearest competitor in all of New England has less than half of that, right? And let's face it, we live in a world where everybody goes online to check who's coming to their house on Saturday.
Of course.
And if they go and they see, wow, they have 100-something reviews, and they see all these comments, they're like, wow, these people are legit. They know how to get the deals done. They're not just, this preconceived notion of a slimy investor that they may have in the head. It's real people providing real value. Once they get in the door, they already feel like I can do the right thing for them. And I haven't even said a word yet, just because I'm providing certainty from that online presence, which you mentioned. I couldn't agree more. Super, super important. And anybody listening, if you're not getting a testimonial or a Google review at the closings, you're doing yourself a disservice. Every closing you do, make sure you're there when they're super happy and they're getting their check to either give you a testimonial, a video testimonial, a written testimonial, or some kind of Google review. Those will be huge for your long-term success in this business.
I'll go a step further to say that I have even gotten testimonials or, things from folks that we couldn't work a deal with.
Me too.
Because, if you look at a site that's got all good reviews, it's a bunch of BS, right? If you look at the ones with bad reviews mixed, and not bad reviews, but honest reviews, like, hey, we couldn't work together because of this, but they were on time, blah, blah, blah. It still adds and lends to what we're trying to build, and that's authority, right? We want to be the authority when we're walking in that door.
Couldn't agree more, John. And, the bad reviews we have are because we used to send letters out with our business name on them. We don't do that anymore because somebody would be like, they sent me a mail and how dare they, 1-star review. But, we do have a lot of people we've actually never done business with in there that says they didn't buy our house, but they were super honest and super kind, and they led me in the right direction, which was a better result for me, and I'm very thankful for that, and they leave me a review for that. We have a whole bunch of those, actually.
That's perfect. Yeah. Let's talk about our second part of what we, the theme of this, and that's maximizing our ROI, right?
Whoa, we know.
Yes, we know that, you get into wholesaling, and wholesaling is great, but there's a lot of times when there's money left on the table. So tell me, how do we maximize ROI? How do you teach it?
I love it. This is something I'm very passionate about with the acquisitions, right? So we started with the acquisitions. We mastered acquisitions. We spent all this time, money, and energy generating leads, locking up deals, getting these people to the closing line, right? And now some people just say, well, I have 2 or 3 cash buyers and I'm just going to sell it to them. Well, I want $20,000, Mr. Cash Buyer, from this deal. Cash Buyer is like, well, I have to haggle you because if I'm not, I'm doing myself a disservice, right? So I'm going to, I'll give you 10,000. The numbers don't work for me. And then you go back and forth and you settle at 15,000, right? This happens all the time. Now you're selling your hard-working deal at a discount to your cash buyer. As Todd Toback would say, that would make you a cash buyer employee. Right? Yeah, you're finding them deals, and you're now a motivated seller selling your deals at a discount. And I just feel like that does such a disservice because it's such hard work. It costs a lot of money these days to get deals, a lot of time and energy. You should be maximizing the revenue on the back end as much as you can. So here's a few things that I would suggest. 1, make sure you have a massive cash buyers list. Don't do a few. I want you to think few thousand, right? And then what you want to do is create a bidding war. So we average over $35,000 for our wholesale deals over the last 5 years.
Let's go.
Okay. We market our properties at $4,900 over contract price. And we'll have a one-time showing. It's basically an open house, but because we're not a brokerage, we can't say open house. We just say inspection walkthrough. We have one every, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. This is your one-time showing. We blast it out to all of our cash buyers. We get them to the house. We keep the price low. We want to drive as much traffic into this house as we can. I don't want 3 people there. I want 30 people in there. And we tell the seller, it's going to be a freaking circus. It's going to be crazy. And what we do is we get there, and it's like an auction. Hey, guys, bid start at X. And they start going back and forth, and we bid them up as high as possible. So rather than them squeezing me for $5,000, I'm squeezing them.
You're
for
squeezing them,
right?
So you contract the property at $150,000, right? You put it out there at $154,900,
correct?
And just get everybody, as many people as you can.
Yeah, because the lower the price, right, the more attractive it will be. And I know a majority of those people who see that number aren't going to go there, right? They're going to go there, but they're not going to buy the house. But if I market it, let's say at $170,000, all those people who were on the fence aren't going to show up because they're going to be like, those numbers are too tight. It's not a smoking home run deal, so I'm not going to go, right? And then rather than having 30 people at the inspection walkthrough, I have 10 or 5, right? I've cut out a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
So I don't really care if they're going to buy. I just want them there because the people who are buying, which is really 80-20 rule applies to your buyers list. 20% of your buyers are going to buy 80% of your deals. So we want to make sure that the 20% that actually are going to perform are feeling this nervousness about all these other people there trying to steal their deals away from them. And I love it. It gets them to dig into the pockets a little deeper.
I love it. A lot of people are doing nowadays like the buy now price. right? Do you guys ever do like a, hey, we're going to put it here? No, you like the bidding. You want that bidding war going.
I want to get top dollar, and that's why we're averaging $35,000 a deal. But, and we love pre-marketing our deals on the MLS. So here at New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and in Florida, we'll pre-market the deal on the MLS as a double close. So that gets more eyes on us. We still only list it $4,900 over contract price. We tell the seller this is what we're going to do. If they give us their sign in the contract and give us their written and verbal consent, we'll do this, and we drive even more traffic there. And this
you have to have them sign something like a listing, anything for a listing,
or do. But you
do, okay.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like innovation, right? When you do that part?
Well, it's not innovation because we're at that point we're still assigning it on the back end, but we're getting all the eyes of the MLS to my houses, right? So it's just driving more traffic there, and people on the MLS like to spend more money than our cash buyers who buy off market. That's another little trick. But John, also it just doesn't stop there, right? So that is a way to maximize as a wholesaler, but wholesaling is only going to take you so far in this business. If you think you're going to build a wholesaling business and retire and be rich and all this other stuff, I promise you it's not going to happen. You need to have other exit strategies. So I do like flipping. I love wholetailing. We all want to buy and hold properties, right? And we do novations, we do creative financing. These are all different tools in the tool belts that we have. When you first get started, master the art of becoming a wholesaler, master the art of acquisitions, master the art of selling your contract to cash buyers for as much money as possible. Once you get that system down where you have deals coming in on the regular, now you can start looking at those other exit strategies, especially if you can learn how to bring in private lending, wholetailing, flipping, and all these other things. And this allows me to maximize my revenue on all deals because I'm cherry picking my pipeline. Hey, this makes a good quick flip. We could probably make 90K on this and have it on the market in 90 days rather than selling it for 30K, right? This is a big old farmhouse with $250,000 in renovation. I don't want to take on this project. Let's wholesale it. This makes a great buy and hold. Let's keep this as a burr and let's not just wholesale it, right? So we're building long-term wealth while we're acquiring burr properties. We're keeping cash flow going regularly with wholesaling the deals we don't want. And we're getting big chunks of change handful of times a year with our flips and our wholetails by using other people's money to take these properties down, clean them out, immediately relist them, or just doing some light contracting. I don't do any big projects anymore. I've done a few. They're not worth it. I wholesale those off. I just do the light rehabs and the quick and
the lipsticks.
The lipsticks. And, and I'll make, an average of 30 to 40% more profit by doing those jobs myself. I just, instead of assigning them in 30 days, I have to wait, the 90 to 120 days for that. So, you have to kind of do some juggling there, but this is how you average. Like last year, we averaged $45,000 per deal on all of our deals across the board, right? And now I only have to do 2 or 3 deals a month at $45,000 to be $1 million a year business, right? That's all I need to do. And it doesn't take a lot of bandwidth, a lot of infrastructure to do 2 or 3 deals a month.
Not at all. We're running out of time here, but real quick, I want to make sure we talk about REI Freedom. So tell me about REI Freedom and, kind of give you a little 30-second plug.
Yeah, thanks, John. So if anything, what you just listened to, what I just said is attractive to you, come join the REI Freedom Coaching Program. We'll teach you to emulate exactly what we're doing, from building a marketing system to the acquisition sales side with Dan Toback, which is one of the best sales coaches in this country. I don't know how we're so lucky to have him. We're blessed. He's amazing. He'll teach you how to talk really good at getting with sellers. I'll teach you how to run your business, manage your marketing, and sell your properties for as much money as possible. We believe in lifestyle investing. Less is more. If you want more time, not necessarily more deals, we're the person for you. We'll teach you how to make really good money working part-time and build a life of freedom, however that looks for you, through real estate investing, just like we have.
I love it. Jeremy, this has been tremendous. So folks can get a hold of you. I know I have a lot of your contact info and I'll put it in the show notes, but just tell everybody how they can reach out to you if they want to talk about REI Freedom or just pick your brain on anything.
Yeah, I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Jeremy, Jeremy, Beland, Beland, Jeremy Beland. I'm everywhere. I talk to people all day, every day. I'm happy to give you free advice and guidance for nothing. I'm happy to. I believe in providing value, and the more value you give, the more value will come in return. Just how I am. I believe in the universe and karma and all that. Outside of that, John, I'd like to give a free giveaway to your audience. Is that okay?
Oh, sweet. Yes, go ahead.
if you guys go to reifreedom.com/top sales, that's reifreedom.com/top sales, we'll give you our free top sales techniques that we talk about, the acquisitions, getting good talking to sellers and everything. We'll give you our top sales techniques PDF ebook for free. You just download it, start reading it, studying it, practice it, implement it. I guarantee you get a handful of more deals in the course of 12 months. That'll make you a lot more money. So free, go get it.
That's huge. Guys, if you don't take advantage of that, once again, reifreedom.com/top sales, reach out to Jeremy, man. If you guys didn't pick up at least one nugget today that can grow your business, re-listen to this thing, man, because there's so many that he dropped. Jeremy, once again, I'm so grateful to have you on our podcast. You were a great dude then when I met you. You're same old great dude now, and it's been a pleasure to have you on here.
The pleasure's all mine, John. Thank you so very much.
Awesome. And everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this show, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.